holidays. They are full of merriment and cheer and joy, also anger and frustration and grief and sadness and all the feelings. Am I right? Hey, I'm Steph Wagner. I am a dietitian. I support bariatric surgery patients in their everyday life after surgery, in between their visits with their team, and especially during the holidays. Today we're talking about emotional eating, because emotional eating is actually true every day of the year, but I think in particular, the holidays are a popular time for lots of other feelings, right? In this video, I want to touch on why we care so much for our physical needs in order to identify what our emotional needs are and what they are telling us. I have a full video course on emotional eating. Highly recommend it. It's in my Premier Access membership. I will link the information below. If you're a member, you can go grab that right now. So in a previous series, I talked about the 5 pillars of healthy living. After bariatric surgery, we talk about the pillar of water, the pillar of meal planning and food quality, the pillar of movement, the pillar of sleep, and vitamins. And that allows a firm foundation so that you feel more hydrated, more well slept, you've got good quality food in your body, but it doesn't totally touch on the emotional side. The truth of the matter is food is not just fuel. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or if I just feel strongly that that is true. Food actually serves us in so many other ways. So when we say food's just fuel, we should just eat what we need and walk away, then we actually tend to feel shame when we did eat out of stress. Well, because stress actually does drive us to eat. There's more going on here. Caring for those physical needs, super important, but it's not the whole story. What it does do is it gives us a foundation that allows us to think more clearly when emotions come up, compared to if we're dehydrated and then we get really stressed, or we've had poor sleep and then we start feeling lonely. It really adds fuel to the fire. We do want to care for those physical needs, and if you haven't seen those videos, you can check those out. But for today, we're going to talk about the emotional side. Now, actually, the most common reason that people eat for emotion is boredom. So that's true in the holiday season too. You might even add in some loneliness there. If it's the holidays and you feel bored, you might actually feel lonely that it's the holiday season, I don't have anything to do. Or maybe you're sitting down, you're watching your holiday movies, but that kind of triggers you to go eat because your brain is really good at habits and it associates sitting on this couch and watching this Hallmark movie is when I eat popcorn. So there's a lot going on there. It may be that you need to watch your Hallmark movie in a different location. It may be that you need to do a holiday puzzle instead because you're breaking that trigger. But what's going on when you're having boredom triggers to eat is a dip in dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical in the brain, a neurotransmitter that allows us to feel pleasure and happiness. It's a wonderful thing. But when we have dopamine that kind of drops, we might feel some boredom. And that's when oftentimes we might go look for some food because food can boost our dopamine. So that's a quick glimpse into boredom, but the next most common reason is stress eating. So what's going on with stress eating? Cortisol. You probably have heard about the stress hormone cortisol, and it does drive us and trigger us to eat. And it's because our body goes into this fight or flight mode when cortisol comes into the play, it comes into the mix, and that drives our cravings, especially for sugar and fat. Why? Because our body feels like it needs to fuel up for the fight, which would be really helpful if we were like faced with this saber-tooth tiger or something. But when we're talking about just stress because we have to get all of this wrapping done and it's past my bedtime, but I have to have this all ready by the morning, like we actually don't need to fuel up for the fight. In fact, we probably just need to go to bed and ask someone to help me wrap tomorrow or whatever the situation is. But that's what's going on with stress is usually cortisol. So here's kind of the antidote. Whenever you find you're going into this fight or flight mode, you're anxious, you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, is engaging what we call the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is the opposite of fight or flight. The other system is the rest and digest system. That's the one I want to be in. What you can do is practical things that tell your body you're safe, you're not in danger, and you can be in the rest and digest state. Things like deep breathing, actually very powerful. Don't underestimate it. Getting outside, listening to music with less than 60 beats a minute, so your slow Christmas jams, and even getting something cold to the face, cold water to the face. Maybe you need to step away from your family for a minute and go put a cold bottle of water to your face. But it's something that tells your body everything's okay, I'm not in danger. So truly, you can do those things wherever you are. If you are with your family for hours on end and it's getting a little stressful, step outside, take deep breaths, put something cold on your face, put some music on, and remind yourself that you're not in danger. Okay, there's a lot more emotions. Those are the biggest ones I wanted to touch on, except there's one more I don't want to leave out, and that is grief. The holidays can be a really hard time when you are missing a loved one, especially if it's your first holiday season without them. Sometimes it doesn't matter if it's your 10th holiday season without them, right? Loneliness, grief, some of those blue feelings, they can be very, very hard to feel. And sometimes we will go to food to not have to feel those feelings. Who can blame us, right? When it's painful, we don't want to talk about it. But the thing about those blue feelings is, where can we find opportunities to increase our serotonin? That's kind of a mood lifter. And that would also be things like getting outside. Even taking off your shoes and being barefoot for a while can be really grounding. Aromatherapies. And also just sharing memories about your loved one with someone else. Talking about it, having a safe person to talk to when you feel up for it, sharing photos and living those memories so that you don't feel like it's forgotten. And you get to experience some of the joy of the memories and the moments that you did have with your loved one. But it's not easy. And if you need someone to visit with over this holiday season, then I always recommend a mental health care professional. So certainly reach out if you feel like this is feeling too overwhelming of a holiday season to go through. All right, like I said, there's so many more emotions. Those are the big ones. You can find more links to previous blog posts and handouts on emotional eating. I think just being aware that that's what's going on, that stress eating, emotional eating, because of family, because of holidays, there's a lot in the mix. So how can you care for yourself? What can you do for yourself to improve your mood, boost your mood, care for yourself physically, so that you can go back to having a joyful and wonderful holiday season?